This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with guitarist MICHAEL GILBERT of the U.S. heavy metal act FLOTSAM and JETSAM. If I knew absolutely nothing about FLOTSAM and JETSAM, how would you describe the band's music to me?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say it would be a little bit between speed metal and at the moment power metal. With the tunes from the last couple of records, we're kind of moving. I'm not going to say we're moving in that direction, but we've got some stuff that's going to appeal to some power metal fans as well. So yeah, speed metal, thrash, little power metal on the top with the cherry.
And that power metal that you're alluding to is certainly present on your upcoming album, I Am the Weapon. It is your 15th studio album. It comes out on September 13th on AFM Records. Before we get into the album, did you purposely pick Friday the 13th for this release?
No, actually, it was supposed to be released a little earlier. And as it got pushed back, the label was like, Friday the 13th, is that okay with you guys? Heck yeah. This band has been through so much. Like a little Friday the 13th is not going to phase us at all.
When it comes to the material on I Am the Weapon, I know that your last studio album, Blood in the Water, came out in 2021. You guys haven't wasted any time getting into the new record. Was there leftover material that you kind of honed in on for this new album, or was this just from scratch?
We always say that, hey, let's just take whatever was left over from the last record and rework it. But we end up never doing it. We always start fresh for every record. There's probably 100 songs sitting in on a hard drive someplace that we probably won't ever revisit, or maybe, if there's ever like a B-side something, or maybe an EP of unreleased material, maybe we'll do something like that. I have fans kind of like it raw, like to hear sometimes the demo tapes, or or even some old live performances and stuff like that. It's always cool for collector stuff.
How does the songwriting work for FLOTSAM and JETSAM? Is it you and AK, or is everybody involved, or AK just does the lyrics and you take care of the guitar stuff?
It's 100% everybody across the board. Usually it's Steve Conley and I that like kind of spawn the idea on the guitar, and we kind of demo stuff up for everybody. It's throwing like some mock drums on it, a mock bass. I'm not a bass player, but I don't like to give the guys a song of just a guitar riff. I want them to, more so than a cool guitar riff. I'd rather have an energy vibe going on. So I try to provide that part so everybody can get excited about it, and then it just kind of starts brewing from that and snowballing. AK writes a lot of the lyrics, and then so does Ken Mary, our drummer. He's a world-class producer, and he loves to write. He's got a knack for giant choruses. Him and AK both working together. As you can tell, like if you've listened to the whole record, which I think you probably already have, every song's got a big chorus on it, and that's something that this band in the past has never done, So this is Ken Mary's like our Swiss Army knife, is what he is.
And Ken Mary came on board with the last album, right?
Yes. He's been here, Blood in the Water. And yeah, this lineup right now is, I'm going to say it's the best lineup that we've had as far as songwriting and just the playability. It's great. I really enjoy playing with these guys. It's a lot of fun.
You have a music video out for the album's title track, I Am the Weapon. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how that song came together?
Okay, so that was a Steve Conley song. He spawned that one, and it went through his demo phases and stuff like that. Submitted it. I actually didn't even know that he wrote it until after I heard AK do the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, holy shit! Can I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, holy shit, that was pretty badass. And we kind of thought that one we weren't sure what was going to happen with that one, if that was one of the ones that were going to get bumped or what. It turned out that the ended up becoming the title track on the record, So after reworking it turned into a brutal freaking song. Brutal.
Absolutely. Another great song from the album is the opening track, "New Kind of Hero." I don't think you've released it as a single yet, but I know it's gonna be a single. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that one?
That was my first demo for this record. I wrote that, sent it off to Ken, and he was like, "Holy crap, dude! This is going to be the opener like he knew it right off the bat." And then him and AK came up with some pretty cool lyrics about kind of people's attitudes, how people are these days. Like if there was a new superhero that came out, what would he be like? I mean, so it's kind of mocking how like shit is just not getting done these days. I don't know if you've noticed too, like, oh, we'll get to it when we get to it. So we had AK do some acting, and if you watch him, he's on his phone and he's getting the help signal, and he's like, whatever. He's right in the middle of a video game. He's gonna finish his video game before he goes and saves a life, which is a new kind of hero.
Certainly not an anti-hero.
And he really is flying in that, by the way. That wasn't, there was no special effects. He was flying.
I'm sure he was. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Primal? That's another one you got a video out for, and it's a single.
Excuse me. Yeah. So that one, it's a pretty straightforward rock and roll track. Steve wrote that and demoed that one up, and when AK put the chorus on it, it was like, okay, I'm sold on this thing, and we actually have it. We've been playing it live, and it's going over great. So the album's not even out yet, but when we play it, the people in the front row, they're all singing the lyrics and chanting the chorus. So it's like that's when you're onto something. So yeah, that's pretty much how that came about. It's a straight rock and roll song, and tons of power.
So when it comes to releasing singles for this particular album, is that something the band has a say in, or is that something that the label does, or you guys go back and forth?
We pretty much have an idea of what the record label is going to say, but we always try to include them. They would be okay with whatever we gave them. They'd be fine with it, but it's a working relationship, and I want their input. They're all experts at listening to metal, and I want the input, we no egos. Definitely won't do the ego thing. So I love to hear anybody's input about stuff, because when we're creating and we're recording and stuff like that, we're kind of in a bubble. It might sound great to me, but it really might sound like not very good, to the outside ear. So I love to hear everybody's opinion.
Well, the only reason I asked that question is because the singles are like the first 4 tracks from the album, but I think as the album goes along, those could also be singles, but you also got a lot of diversity in the style of the music that you guys are playing as it comes along, and I think it gets stronger towards the end.
Oh, really? Okay. See, I love to hear stuff like that, because we had problems picking the singles out, so we kind of let the label pick that stuff. They I guess it would be they weighed in heavily on the decisions on it, but there was a lot of songs to choose from. There was Running Through the Fire was a good one. Cold Steel Lights is another one that, it's got like the classic Flotsam stuff where it starts off really fast, and in the middle of it, it kind of slows down a little bit, and then it picks back up, and it beats you over the head again towards the end. And then we got another one on there that's it's a really repetitive riff. And you probably know it. You probably think it sounds like ZZ Top. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I missed that.
Okay, good. Yeah, there's a tune on there. It's highly repetitive as for the guitar riff, but it's all just made to let AK kind of shine. So AK's doing the changes vocally and taking the listener to wherever they're going, instead of a lot of musical changes. I think there's only two chord changes in the whole song, which is really weird for us. We usually have a whole bunch, but.
Now, speaking of technical guitar geek things, I saw on YouTube that you were soliciting guitar tones from fans for this new album, and I wanted to know if somebody sent you some tones that you ended up using.
Yes, I did. I can't recall the guy's name. I'd have to go through the emails, because I picked one of his tones. He sent me a whole bunch of stuff, so I went through all of them, and I found one for a solo. I did a double solo on the end of what song is it? Shoot, You got me all nervous right now. Anyways, I put it on the end of one of the songs, a double solo. He won. So he's going to get a T-shirt and he's going to get a copy of the album. And he's actually in the liner notes too. He put his name on it. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah.
You got cover artwork on the new album, I Am the Weapon by Andy Pilkington. He's done work for you guys, I'm pretty sure, back to 2019's The End of Chaos. What is it about his work you guys like that you keep going back to him?
He's almost like the fifth member or the sixth member. He's just locked on. He loves Flotzilla. When we decided to bring Flotzilla back, because he kind of went away for a little while, and we decided to bring him back, he started giving us ideas, and he's just been locked on. This last record, the I Am the Weapon artwork, he didn't even do any revisions on it. That was his first copy. He sent it, and it was like, we're just like, oh, that's it. You nailed it right from the get-go. And it's kind of like the first record revisited too, almost like the same concept of where you got this giant lizard standing in front of the devil kind of thing, and like now the lizard's the record or the weapon, I guess, So,
and it's important to have this type of visual artwork in a day and age where vinyl's coming back. You guys have some excellent vinyls for the upcoming release. You got like a cool orange black splatter, a red one, a yellow and red splatter. Are you into the whole vinyl resurgence yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely into it. I have as many as I possibly can on my wall because I'm so impressed with AFM sent all these out, and they give us a couple of copies. They give us 5 copies of whatever color, so we can all split them up and stuff like that. But yeah, they go crazy with. There was one that came out about 6 months ago. It was a liquid filled record. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that. Totally weird. It was green and black, and it was filled up with liquid inside of it, which I thought was really cool. Who knows what it is, But
I've seen the liquid. I've seen some filled with sand. I saw a Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack, one that had the rings inside. They're doing some really cool stuff with vinyl now.
I haven't heard of that. Sand, really?
Yeah. It was like for like a 90s band that did a song for like Laguna Beach or something.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I'm going to have to tell AFM about that.
Yeah, there you go. I got to get some dragon scales in there.
Oh, you are onto something. You are definitely, that's a great idea.
Alice in Chains did Dead Flies inside a Jar of Flies reissue.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is Flotsam and Jetsam's 3rd album for AFM Records. How did you guys end up signing with them?
I don't know. We bounced between labels for a while. When we did our researches, when Kelly and I, we were gone from the band. There's a long history in this band of changes and stuff like that. We took a hiatus, and when we came back to the band, we wrote Ugly Noise that came out, and then the self-title was after that, and that's when we got all the interest from AFM. And the name of the label really says it all for metal. I mean, that's kind of like, this might be our home, and we've gotten offers from Nuclear Blast. Metal Blade wanted to pick us up again, but AFM seemed like they were the most in tune with us at the moment, and so we've just stuck with them, and they've been great to us.
In addition to I Am the Weapon, AFM is repressing your 2016 self-titled album on clear vinyl. Is there something that spawned this? Because it's not really an anniversary release.
No, I don't know why they're doing it. I think it's just they might have run out of product because vinyls are going crazy in sales right now. Like everybody wants them. So, and they're probably just trying to change it up and keep it interesting. I'm gonna have to ask them about that. What's going on?
You guys just finished a bunch of summer festival shows. You were just at Wacken. You did Grass Pop earlier in the summer season. How did it go for you guys?
Oh, wonderful! Like you can't ask for anything more. The fans they're locking onto the new songs, which that we're always hopeful for that. At some point, we would love to take. We've got all these classic songs at these festivals, or they want us to play this stuff. They want us to do these special sets, but we want to push our new stuff. So hopefully, you know, that'll start happening in the future. We'll be playing I Am the Weapon, Blood in the Water, you know, and self-titled Into Chaos stuff, and maybe save the classics for the encores, you know, because there's a lot of fans there that still want to see like No Place for Disgrace and Hammerhead and stuff like that. And we got Europe is a pretty good place for us. We got a lot of fans in Europe, and the festivals are they're definitely raging when we go over there and play. Super cool. Have you been to any of those yet, Vakken or
Nah, I haven't
what?
been there. I've seen them on YouTube. They look fantastic. Maybe one day I'll get over there.
Oh yeah, it's a blast. It's definitely an experience.
It's definitely different than kind of how US audiences receive, heavy metal bands that have been around for 30, 40 years.
Yeah, there's some maybe there's something in the water. Maybe there's blood in the water over in Germany. I don't know.
Could be. You have another festival coming up, Dynamo, and you have a couple of headlining shows leading up to that performance. Do you like the headlining shows or the festivals better?
Both the same. I love the headlining shows. The festival ones, well, the festival shows are you're not as close to the crowd, so there's a little bit of a disconnect. But it's always cool to see. Do you remember that old Talking Heads video when David Byrne standing in front of the big the screen with all the people on it? It's just like that, you know. It's kind of like a dream. That's what we are aspiring to do is play in front of giant crowds. You know, that's what every musician wants. But there's that disconnect. That disconnect isn't there on the headlining shows. So, and that's really cool when you can reach out and like fist bump somebody, or you can hear them going, "You fucked up that guitar solo," you know, whatever. The Germans do that. They'll tell us like, "Your guitar solo was not on this time." I gotta laugh at that. It's kind of funny. It's like, but yeah, they're honest about it. I love it.
Sure. Do you ever get to hang out with the other bands while you're on these festivals? Maybe rub elbows with your music heroes?
Yeah, yeah. You know, they have it set up to. They have like a huge artist area. Some of the bigger artists have even a artist area where they you know they don't even mingle with the artists. Like I think Gene Simmons was there. You know, he's off. I saw him walk by. You know, I didn't. I don't ever fanboy out on people or anything like that, but just respect. You know, it's kind of cool to see one of your heroes that got me into this. You know, he's one of the reasons why I play guitar. Walk by. It's just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, I never in a million years thought I'd be, you know, at a festival in Germany with Gene Simmons. We played with him in Sao Paulo too, and yeah, pretty cool. Mark Tremonti, I met him the other day, and what a super nice guy that was. He's a Flotsam fan, so and I love his guitar playing. He's a great guitar player. So yeah, bumping elbows with people, rubbing elbows or whatever. Definitely, I try to talk to and meet as many people as I can.
Right? Yeah, Mark is a nice guy. I've actually had him on a couple times. I noticed Flotsam and Jetsam is going to be playing the 70,000 tons of metal cruise in 2025. Have you guys ever done one of these cruises before?
Yeah, we've done it twice before, and it's my favorite gig of all time. I love it. I get to get some sun. I get to lay in the sun a little bit. I get to go on a cruise. I get to drink a bunch of beer, and then I get to play in my band. And then the really good part is I get paid for it.
At least you're honest. Do it for the
I'm
love of
doing
the music, man.
Oh, man, I'm so blessed that I get to do this. You know, I'm very grateful. I know the rest of the guys are too. I can speak on behalf for everybody. We're very grateful. We're still relevant in the business, and we get to do this. It's man, I didn't think I'd still be doing this you know, almost 40 years into my career. So
Speaking of almost 40 years, you're creeping up on the 40-year anniversary of Doomsday for the Deceiver. It came out July 4th, 1986. It was recorded in 2 weeks on a budget of $12,000. How does that compare to putting together the latest I Am the Weapon?
well, there's lots of new stuff, new technologies that weren't available back then. 2 weeks. We did it in 2 weeks on a 2-inch tape. We rehearsed. So when we went in, we tried to do that record live. It didn't work though. I mean, we're just not a live studio band, so we ended up tracking each thing individually. And it's a lot different when you're on a stopwatch, and they're like, okay, go. You've got 2 days to do all your parts and make sure you do it right. But now, everybody's got a home studio. You can do your parts when you feel up to it. If you have a bad day, you can just put it away and be like, oh, I'm going to revisit this tomorrow. But the one drawback to that is when everybody's in a room playing together, you feel the energy on it. Uh, you don't feel that though when you're writing these songs, right off the bat, what they're going to be like live. We've had situations where we've tried to play something from one of our records that it just doesn't go over live very good. It might be a great song on the record, but live it just doesn't translate. And we've always been a band that translates pretty well. So if I guess that's going to happen from time to time with when you do, you're passing around session files, and you're not actually banging it all out all together in a room at 120 decibels.
Sticking with Doomsday for the Deceiver, it was released through Metal Blade Records. Was your appearance on Metal Massacre 7 what got you the record deal with Metal Blade back then?
I think so. That was back when Newsted was in the band. He was doing all the correspondence and stuff like that, and he had a great relationship with Slagle from Metal Blade. And I think they wanted to sign us, but they wanted to put us on the compilation first to see how it was received. And that was "I Live You Die." That was the first song that I wrote in this band, and I guess it was received pretty well because right after that they signed us, and then yeah, we were on for one record. Then the next record we were on Elektra.
And right from the get go, you guys were opening up for like a who's who of thrash and metal guys: Megadeth, Slayer, Dark Angel, Celtic Frost. That must have been quite the experience for a young guy, his first record deal, and getting on the road with these guys.
Oh, dude, I was 18, and we're starting to go out with Megadeth, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Uh, just pretty surreal, because that's what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a rock star, like I used to sit in my room with a tennis racket and act like I was Ace Frehley. So don't tell anybody.
We all did. uh, Leading up to Doomsday for the Deceiver, you guys released a couple of demos, Iron Tears and Metal Shock. Have all those songs on those demos seen the light of day on a studio release?
There was one that was called The Evil Sheik that never made it. Everything else pretty much did. Dogs of War didn't make it either. Those two. And I can't remember. I can't recall which demos they were on. The Iron Tears demo, I think it had The Evil Sheik on it. And there's still some of those are floating around. Every once in a while I see them turn up on Facebook. Somebody will show it in the one of the forums, and it's like, man, that's some old stuff, right? That's 40 years old. Holy smoke. I think I have one floating around someplace too. I got a lot of memorabilia that I try to keep. I hold on to everything.
So you guys, the album cover from Doomsday for the Deceiver appeared in the movie Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Camper. Seems like kind of a big deal. Did you ever find out how the poster ended up in the movie?
I don't know. I've heard that. I don't even think I've seen the movie though, but I'm gonna watch it probably tonight. Now that you say that, and bring it back to my memory. So you're giving me homework.
It's terrible. It's a terrible movie. It's terribly good. It's
We were in it.
80s
Oh, go
horror
ahead.
schlock. It's typical 80s horror schlock.
Oh, sweet. So everybody dies except for the last person, and then the killer gets away. Okay.
Exactly.
We had a soundtrack for a Keanu Reeves movie called The Prince of Pennsylvania, which was kind of cool. At the beginning of the movie, he's like walking, and he walks up to this junkyard, and he climbs over these cars, and there's all these bikers having a party, and they're playing Hammerhead. And so that was our motion picture debut, I guess, soundtrack debut.
Thanks. My introduction to the band was actually 1995's Drift. fantastic album in my book. Sort of those one album names were what really got me into the band. Drift and Quattro and I'll get the other one. No, I'm not going to get the other one in my head. But those three albums came out. They all had one word names.
Oh,
That was kind of like peak Flotsam and Jetsam. High was the other one.
hi. Yep.
That was kind of your major label albums. Tell me a little bit about, working on Drift.
So Drift, we all pretty much lived in Texas for that. There's a ranch in Tornillo, Texas. We all went down there. We thought the seclusion was going to be good for us to finish. We were 80% done with the record by then, and we figured going down there with a songwriter, Neil Kernan, a bunch of label people, and finish up what we were doing. And we were there for like 3 months or something, 4 months doing it. And I had a lot of memories of that. That was when the OJ was being chased by the police, like all kinds of stuff. That was a lot of fun doing that. But Drift came out of it, and there's mixed feelings about that because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of versatile stuff on it. There's rock music, there's speed metal, there's acoustic music on that too. So we were still experimenting then, but we seem to do that with at least one or two songs on all of our records.
Empty Air. That was very progressive metal to me.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's that translates good live. People love that song. The Flotsam fans love hearing it.
Coming on 40 years of the band's debut, do you have the rights back to your music yet?
That's a great question because there's a few. The third record, we'd like to do a remix of it. It's in terrible need for a remix, and from what I've heard, Universal, we can't get a hold of anybody about it. So I don't know if we can re-record it. I can't even get. I think the master tapes ended up getting burned. So in some sort of fire. That's what I've heard. But it's been hard. It's been hard to find out what we can and can't do right now because there's just no records of anything. So maybe that's the green light to I don't know, maybe remake one of these things or remix them or something. I don't know if we can.
I've actually talked to several artists that mentioned the Universal fire and losing their stuff, and even stuff that wasn't lost in the fire wasn't labeled.
Oh, that'd be interesting to go through and listen to some of that stuff and see what you get, Yeah.
Absolutely. Throughout the 40 years you've been in the music business, you ever get any offers to play in any other bands?
Yeah, I got an offer to play with Newstead Metal when he started doing that after Metallica. I couldn't do it. I was out with Flotsam and we had too much stuff going on, but that was a great band. That's really about it. I haven't really put myself out there too much to do anything else, but haven't really been approached. I get a lot of people that call me about guitar solos. You do a guitar solo here or there, guest appearances. I do those. I love doing those.
You appeared on a Cassius King album, I believe. I interviewed Dan Lorenzo recently.
Oh, he's awesome. I love that guy.
He is great. His new album's awesome with Patriarchs in Black. So how did you guys decide on the name Flotsam and Jetsam? Was it the marine nautical term that you took it from, or was there something else?
This was Newstead when he was doing he was trying to figure out, like, with the lizard, the amphibious lizard, the name of the band and all that stuff. And it was kind of his baby. I was always kind of like, what? That's what everybody says what band are you in? Flotsam and Jetsam. And they always, what? That's the expected answer I get. So that's been a little hard on the band as far as branding and stuff like that. But it's still, it keeps it underground, I think, still. Like, it keeps it old school. And if you go back to the roots of how Newstead was putting it all together, it's pretty badass, actually. I think it is. And I wasn't in the band when he named it that. They were called Dogs before that. They played 3 shows before I joined as Flotsam and Jetsam, and then I joined and started writing. I wrote "I Live You Die," and then everything just snowballed after that. But yeah, Yeah. I don't know. I just an old school amphibious flotsam and jetsam, and the meaning of it. I mean, he meant it as vagrants, but it's at one point he said it sounded like a seafood restaurant, which I thought was pretty funny.
Do you still keep in touch with Jason Newsted?
Yeah, I do. You know, he's always been a friend. I've never had any hard feelings of, when he joined Metallica and stuff like that's a gig that you have to do. You get that call, you better go. So it's like, yeah, dude, go do it. And he was successful. He's a great human being. He's a great friend. He's funny, and he deserved every ounce of success that he's ever got, for sure. He's worked really hard.
I know that Europe's been really good to you guys. Are you going to be making your way back to the US at some point, maybe after the cruise in 2025?
Absolutely. Hopefully, we'll be back over there next summer for the festivals. We didn't hit all of them this year, so leave some more open. We just signed with FM Management too, so that who knows what that's going to bring. Maybe direct support for a bigger band, which we're hoping. Maybe even before the end of the year. Most likely springtime of next year, though. Something will be in the makes.
Excellent. Well, Michael, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Flotsam and Jetsam album is I Am the Weapon. It's out on September 13th through AFM Records. Fantastic album. I wish you the best of luck with it. And I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with KNAC.com about it.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. And thank you for having me on.